Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today I've borrowed this 2021 Mercedes-Benz GLS 580 4Matic from my friends at Mercedes-Benz of Shreveport. And we're in a little bit of a different environment today as far as the location for shooting the video, and a lot of the reason for that is because I wanted to be able to give you a much better look at the not only exterior but also interior lighting. So we're going to do a quick interior and exterior tour, and of course we'll get out and do a quick test drive. And if you're looking for a comfortable, very roomy 3-row Mercedes-Benz SUV, this GLS 580 is definitely something that you might want to consider. And as we take a look around the vehicle, I'm going to try and keep the camera at an angle where you can see everything, but maybe not blind anybody with any of the headlights or anything like that at too low of an angle. But you do have the intelligent headlights. Basically what these lights do is they adapt to your driving conditions. So if they need to brighten, they're going to be whatever they need to be basically for the given situation, whether you're on a dark road, whether it's raining really hard, whatever the case may be. And of course that obviously is a great safety feature, and well, what a great segue to go into the fact that there are of course multiple safety features available for this model. And I'll list what this one has, at least a little kind of a Cliff's Notes version on the screen for you as we take a look here, a little bit better look at the LED taillights. And if you want to know more about the safety features on this model, because I don't want to list the full list on the screen because that would be a little bit much to read, check out the link down in the description of the video to the Mercedes-Benz of Shreveport website. Now, a rather large SUV like this, even though it's not the largest on the market by any means, but it is a rather large vehicle being a 3-row SUV, you're going to need a reasonable amount of horsepower to get down the road easily. And the 4-liter bi-turbo V8 that's found under the hood is definitely not going to disappoint in that area. Of course, there are multiple driving modes depending on your situation. We will take a look at those on our interior portion of the video. But the numbers come out as this: 483 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque, mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission. And of course, being a 4Matic, it's all-wheel drive, so the power is put to the ground in a very effective manner, not only for handling, but great acceleration, since you do have all-wheel drive. And the gas mileage comes in at an estimated 16 miles per gallon city and 21 out on the highway. Now, I turned on the hazard lights just so you could see what the blinkers look like. Of course, you're going to have the turn signal indicators built into the power folding side view mirrors. And yes, when you hit the lock button for this model, the mirrors will automatically fold in. And that can have a lot of advantages depending on if you're parking in a tight space or whatever the situation may be. Just knowing that that's there definitely helps out. And here is what your remote is going to look like. And one of the nice features, not unusual, but I really like it, and we can show it off here very well. When you hit the unlock button, of course, you're going to have your locator lights come on. And on the ground, of course, you will see the Mercedes-Benz logo is projected right there. Very easy to see. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to film in this particular location. And of course, when you open the interior, you're going to see the illuminated door sills, not only on the front, but also here in the rear as well. On all 4 corners, you will find 22-inch multi-spoke AMG wheels. And you'll notice the side steps. That does make getting in and out of the interior easier. And while it's not sitting at its highest potential ride height right now, you do have air suspension that can adjust the height of the vehicle depending on what your situation is. And you do have a power rear liftgate. And as you can see also, as I put the cargo and towing capabilities on the screen as far as what you have with this model, you can see the trailer hitch down there on the bottom. So this model is capable of towing. And you do have a power rear liftgate, multiple options for opening that, including the sensor that is going to be just to the left of the hitch down there. And as we take a look inside, of course, you're going to notice the cargo cover, the rear cargo cover right here, that is obviously in the best place right now. But if you want to lower these seats, which we can do right here on the right-hand side for your rear seats, there are additional slots up there where you can mount the cover itself if you want to move it forward, or you can just take it out altogether if you wish to. And also for lowering the suspension, the height of the vehicle, you've got a button right there that allows you to do that. And over here on the left-hand side of the vehicle, push those in. That's going to lower the middle row seats. And we'll take a closer look at everything in just a minute, but just so you can see how everything lowers, this is how you're going to maximize your cargo space. And you do have a spare tire here as well. So for those who are not a fan of the tire repair kits that come in some vehicles, that is something you don't have to worry about here. And of course, depending on what your situation is, if you want to use these buttons right here, you've got two options for closing the rear lift gate. This one will just close it. If you push this button, I should say, it will not only close the power rear lift gate, but it will also lock the interior. One of the reasons why I chose today's filming location is so that you can have a better look at the interior lighting, something we don't always get to do here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel. And by the way, we're filming at Southern Automation Incorporated, the sponsor of today's video. Check out the link down in the description of the video. They handle production equipment, packaging equipment, all that kind of stuff. If that is a service you can use, whether you're inside the United States of America or outside of the U.S., they do work worldwide. Check them out. Their website link is down in the description of the video. And if you do business with SAI, make sure to tell them that Tom from Vehicle Visionary sent you. And I'm going to show you how to get into the third row. As you can see, I just pulled up on that button right there on the top of the passenger side seat here in the rear. And I want to give you a real-time look at how that works. So I'm going to hop into the back seat here. It is a little bit dark, kind of the downside, I guess, in a way to what we're doing today. But let's see if we can give you a view here. You do have a USB port right here, cup holder, a little bit of storage right there, and basically the same thing over here on the passenger side as well. And while we're back here, let's see if I can do this. I'm going to bring the seat back, and one thing about this, when you bring the seat back, you have to hold the button down. I don't know if there's a way to set that where you can just do kind of a one touch as you can with bringing the seat forward, but I have an okay amount of space back here. The seats can be moved forward, so that can be adjusted for depending on what your rear seat passengers want. But I just wanted to give you a good look around from this point of view as to what you have with your rear seat view. And I know it's not the best view, but you do have a very nice view from the third row of what you can see out of the panoramic sunroof. And just a quick look into the front seat. We'll take a better look in just a minute. But you have dual zone climate control in the front, but also here in the rear. I want to give you a good view of that if I can. Let's see here. As you can see, we actually have quad zone climate control because you have dual zone in the front and in the rear. And so depending on what you do with that will determine what the lights do also. I don't know if I've ever shown that before on my videos. So I'm actually turning it down, cooling the air down. And when you increase the temperature, it's going to turn red. So that's a nice little feature there. Of course, you've got USB ports and connectivity back here. Going to be a little hard to show today because we don't have as much light back here, but trust me, it's here. And remember I said these seats are adjustable here on the middle row. You have the same adjustment features here on the door panels as you do in the front. So nothing on the seats themselves as we would see in some vehicles, but they are located right there, not only on the rear doors, but of course also on the front. And we'll just take a quick look into the front seat just so you can see what is there as far as on the passenger side. And I like to show the glove box just so you can see the space that's in there. As you can see, you also have a light inside the glove box. And this is what you're going to see from this point of view. Quite a bit of interior lighting. The ambient lighting is some of the greatest I've seen here, and you have 64 different potential colors as you can see on the screen right now. we'll take a closer look at that screen when we hop into the driver's seat. As we begin to hop into the driver's seat, I'll just show you what's here on the driver's side door. No big surprises there. Just want to show you a little bit. Of course, you've got seat memory right here, not only on the driver's side, but over there on the passenger side also. Quite a few nice features. Here are the controls for your headlights and all that good stuff here. Power parking brake right there.
How can I help?
And of course, Mercedes is always wanting to help. Sometimes you say the wrong thing and she answers when you don't want her to. But that's part of the MBUX system. I'm going to turn that off right there. But we'll take a closer look at that in just a minute. But you have the dashboard right here and of course the center screen. And for those who have been looking for a touch screen, you probably already saw me do it right there. This is a touch screen. The MBUX, MBUX, or Mercedes-Benz user experience, whatever you want to call it, two 12.3-inch screens here. But this is the touch screen that a lot of you have requested. And of course, you're going to have those steering wheel mounted controls. And for those who maybe come from an older Mercedes model and you are used to the trackpad, well, you still have that, as you can see. I don't know if I can get my arm far enough back to show you both at the same time, but trust me, it works. I can't really show that because I just have too tight of a shot right now. But you also have what I call the mini trackpad here on the dash or on the steering wheel. And as you can see, there we go, I can show you that. I'm going through and we can select different displays depending on what we want. We'll go to classic real fast here just so you can see what's there. There is a lot of functionality here and options. Of course, we'll take a quick look here at what you can do with the speedometer on the left-hand side. Just a few of the features right there. And of course, you can do the same thing on the right side as well. As you can see, navigation, you have a lot of nice options. Customization is no problem here with the Mercedes-Benz vehicles, especially the higher trim levels. Depending on what you want to do, well, you pretty much can do anything you want. Of course, you're going to have the shifter paddles on the steering wheel if you want to shift that 9-speed Ninetronic transmission. Let's not get tongue-tied there. If you want to shift it manually using the shifter paddles. And while we're here, let's go back. There are so many features here, but we'll look at ambient lighting. 64 different colors, and today I can show you some of the colors in ways I normally can't because it's just too bright outside. The blues always seem to show up really well, but let's just select a couple of different colors just so you can see how it looks. Much better option here inside the warehouse at Southern Automation Incorporated. Dual zone climate control, like I said, here in the front, part of the overall quad zone climate control. And right here is the ignition button. And the thing I like about the location right here is the auto stop start feature. To turn that off or on, depending on what you want to do, is located right here to the right of the ignition button. So that's very nice. And cup holders right there. I need to take some stuff out of there so you can have a better view of that. Of course, that's part of your ambient lighting. And let's just move that over there. If you want to conceal some of these areas away, you can do that, including the cup holders right there. That's very easy to do. Of course, a lot of connectivity throughout as far as USB ports and all that good stuff. There is the trackpad I was talking about earlier, better view of that. And if you want to change your driving modes, that's what this is for right here. And even though this is not an AMG model, it is not hurting for horsepower. So if you want to drive in sport mode, you can. But here are the modes: individual, sport, comfort, eco, and off-road. So you do have some off-road capabilities, somewhat light maybe I would say. It'd be fun to take one of these off-road and see what it does. And of course, when you're in individual, if you choose that, what you can do here is go all the way back here. We're going to go home, we're going to go back to vehicle, and then we will go to vehicle right here. And you can hit dynamic select and choose individual configuration. So let's just go to drive, for example. If you want to drive in sport, but you want the ESP to be comfort, well, you can do that. That's one of the great advantages here, and I don't want to go too deep into that as far as what that actually does, but just a nice feature depending on how you want to customize your vehicle. Of course, right up here on the upper console, you'll find a lot of different options, of course. I'm not going to turn those lights on, but you do have your map lights. They're pretty bright. And here is the control for not only opening the power sunroof, but if you want to bring the power shade forward, that's how you do that, just to kind of show you how that works from this point of view. But a very nice vehicle, obviously with a lot of great technology. But of course, one of the main things you're probably going to want to know about is how it handles and how it drives. So let's go find out. All right, we're going to get out on the road for our test drive. And this is not the most powerful GLS you can buy, but I'll tell you what, if you want to drop the hammer, and everything is set to its most aggressive setting, of course, but here's what's going to happen if you drop the hammer. I hope you can hear this. It doesn't have the loudest exhaust note, but you can hear it. It's not bad, but I'll tell you what, even though it's not the AMG model, which makes 603 horsepower, so if 483 is not enough for you, there are options to fix that if you so desire. Now, I am driving, in fact, I'm going to move on to the other lane, or into the other lane here. This is a terrible road that I'm driving on. It is literally a washboard road. Very minimal road noise, as bad as this normally is, because I drive this road every day, multiple times typically, because I live in this general area of the city. To have it be so quiet in here, and I don't know what you're hearing depending on if you have on earbuds or if you're listening through speakers on your computer, and depending on the quality of those. For it to be as quiet as it is, even though, yeah, we're getting some road noise, it's not bad though. Compared to what can normally happen driving through here, depending on the vehicles, if you watch me enough, you probably know what I mean. This says a lot for how this Mercedes is built. It rides great. I can hardly even notice the bumps, and believe me, they are extremely pronounced depending on what you drive. Of course, now we're on to the paved portion of the road, and it's much, much quieter than it was before, even though it wasn't too bad to begin with. But I'll tell you what, I am just overall impressed with the ride quality. It is a large SUV, so the weight is going to help with that. And it would be interesting to have someone else drive and maybe sit in the middle row or the third row in the rear and see what the experience is like. And one thing I didn't mention earlier, you have heated and ventilated seats here in the front. The middle row seats are heated seats, not ventilated, but heated also, or heated only. But at least it's there, and it has been a little bit cooler than normal for what we normally get down here in Northwest Louisiana. So those kind of things come in handy. You've got your leather wrapped steering wheel, very comfortable, extremely responsive. I like that, just barely moving it, and I can feel the vehicle just kind of hunting around on the lane just a little bit. And I do like the fact that the brakes are good and responsive. I'm going to give that a good push down on the brake right there. I like the fact that it didn't nosedive aggressively. That says a lot about how the suspension is set up on this model. And we'll get up here and I'll let you get maybe a better earful of the exhaust note here in just a second. But I like the fact that when you touch the brake pedal, it's not overly aggressive. Sometimes you maybe come out of a vehicle that has weak brakes and you get into a brand new vehicle like this and the brakes are anything but weak. But at the same time, on this one, even though they're not weak, they're still not overly aggressive where you accidentally brake check yourself or your passengers. So let's try this. Let's just launch it and see what it does. That gives you a little bit better idea of the exhaust note in the lower gears. It sounds really good. Not too bad. I have to say, I'm impressed with that. That's one of the good things, or great things I should say, about these Mercedes-Benz vehicles, especially the higher trim levels, is you have multiple driving modes and it allows you to pretty much customize the vehicle. Like I showed you earlier, in the individual configuration, you can set it up however you want in basically every area of the vehicle. Steering, the suspension, the way the engine works, everything. It's really, really nice. And you do have a great view here, of course, with all the luxuries and amenities here. You've got the panoramic sunroof, and here's something we're going to start doing. So if you haven't subscribed, you might want to, so you can see future videos. I'm going to start grabbing some of these vehicles and doing more nighttime test drives, not only so you can see the interior lighting when it's dark outside and just kind of see what it's like to actually drive at night in these vehicles, but also to give you a little bit of a view out here where I live in this part of the city, basically outside of the city limits where I live. We can basically sit in my driveway and look up and see the stars. No light, so you don't have all the lights of the city around to kind of drown that out. So we're going to start doing a few more things like that, something I don't see a lot on YouTube. So to keep that in mind for future videos, and a good reason to subscribe to my channel. So as we just cruise down the road here, everything is great here. Of course, you've got the MBUX system, and even though I accidentally set her off earlier, let's do this. I'll give you an example of the interactivity that's available here. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
How much gas do I have left?
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
How much gas do I have left?
You can still drive 134 miles.
There is a real life test of how this system works. Sometimes that's going to happen. I don't know why. Maybe I just didn't pronounce things correctly, but whatever the case is, that's what you're going to get. And you can ask a lot of different things. In fact, you can even ask her, I won't say the name because she'll answer me. If you want to hear some good information, just say, hey, you know, what questions can I ask you? And you'll actually get a pretty long answer. I'm not going to do that right now because it's about 45 seconds to a minute. I haven't ever timed that, but I actually asked her that question one time, and that's what happened. It was a pretty long answer. So great technology here, and let's just do this. A small bit of lag right there. I pulled the right shifter paddle to gear up, but a small bit of lag there. Not too bad though. Now that was a little more quick response. So just in case you're wondering how quick the shifter paddles respond, well, there you go. Now you know. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing the interior lighting. Tell me what you think about that. Do you want to see more of that where I do this in the warehouse or maybe with the nighttime test drives? I have to be kind of careful with that with these higher dollar Mercedes-Benz vehicles because of the fact that they like to keep the miles down, so I try and do that. But if I drive at home, I may end up putting more miles on it than I would have otherwise. So trying to be careful about that, but it doesn't mean we have to take out the most expensive models. We can take out other models as well. So tell me what you want to see as always, and I appreciate my friends from Mercedes-Benz of Shreveport for loaning me this model for the day as always, and all of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch. Have a great day, guys. I really appreciate you more than I can say, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye-bye.